Allison Proffitt, editor of Diagnostics World, and I'm here at the Next Generation Diagnostics Summit speaking with Kevin Hrusovsky. He's the chairman and CEO of Quanterix. And I heard him speak yesterday, and he was talking about Quanterix's work with the NFL, the National Football League, and identifying early stage markers for brain injury. So Kevin, can you tell me a little bit about how we can determine whether or not someone's had a brain injury on the football field?
Well, obviously, football can be a dangerous sport, as we've watched recently with concussions, and a lot of that leading into a disease called chronic traumatic encephalopathy. There's been a lot of press about it, and the NFL teamed up with General Electric for the Head Health Challenge, and they actually have awarded us twice for our technology for being able to detect concussions in blood. And the NIH actually started a lot of this work with veterans as they were trying to understand blast victims and concussions. And believe it or not, the NIH has not only been able to detect concussion biomarkers in blood, but they've also been able to use our technology to test it in saliva and even breath condensate. That's how sensitive our technology is. And so the less invasive the testing is, the easier it's going to be to get high school children, kids playing Pop Warner sports, even soccer players, to someday have their baselines tested so they can be watching their neuromarkers to ensure that they're not in harm's way by playing these incredible sports, which are important to society as well.
So you are launching a new product here today. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Absolutely. The original machine was built for IVD, and it's pretty expensive, $165,000. But over the last 2.5 years, we've placed almost 160 of those large instruments. Almost every pharmaceutical company and biotech own multiple instruments now, trying to build companion diagnostics and stratifying patient cohorts for their clinical trials. This new instrument is actually a much lower price point. It's a much smaller footprint. It even uses less sample. And it allows us to do a 6-plex for some of the most important cytokines that are looked at for liquid biopsies in the whole cancer arena. So the ability to digitize the immune system is really, we're beginning to do that with our new 6-plex assay that will go on this new instrument called our SR-plex, which only, I think, goes for $75,000. And our goal here is to allow this technology to really reach across all aspects of the world and allow all academia to use it, as well as big pharma and biotech. One of the best kept secrets about this instrument is it also will run molecular, so it'll run nucleic acids, it'll run DNA, RNA, microRNA, mRNA. So we now have an instrument that does proteins, exosomes, peptides, as well as now all of these nucleic acids. And so we think this is going to really open this up for the cancer market and allow it to really be utilized to see cancers very early. And there's already a lot of data suggesting that these biomarkers, these digital biomarkers, can reveal cancers much earlier than anything in the world today.
When you look into the future of diagnostics, what kind of device or how close are we to being able to detect this sort of injury on a football field on site?
So the biggest questions that are being asked today is, has the child on the field had a concussion? And today, they're using cognitive tests, asking them, who's the president, can you count backwards? And last year, 6 children actually died by being put back into the game after answering those questions properly. They thought they were okay. They had what's called second impact syndrome, and they actually died on the field. So the biggest question, most states now require a medical intervention before they can return to play. So today, one of the big questions is, when is it safe to return to play? And that kind of testing can already be done today by sending the blood sample to a centralized lab to determine that answer. Someday, we're going to actually have a point-of-care device on the field that will actually answer that question real time. But believe it or not, getting to whether or not it's safe to return to play, given that there's already medical intervention, is probably a really good first step. That's, I think, already probably within a year, we're going to have panels available to help physicians make that determination with more objective testing versus the cognitive testing, which we know is flawed.
Now, in about 30 minutes, you are chairing a panel at the keynote. Can you tell me what you're hoping to hear there, what you're looking forward to in diagnostics as we move forward?
I think it's really important that diagnostics continues to evolve, and the regulatory and reimbursement are 2 major challenges that we all have to confront. But in point of care and having CLIA waiver is an important opportunity to move these technologies closer to the patient. And as we get our sensitivity up, which in this technology here, it's equivalent to being able to see a grain of sand in 2,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools. That's how sensitive this technology is. Or we can differentiate a single blade of grass in a field the size of Alaska. So when you add this kind of sensitivity, getting it closer to the patient makes more sense. So is this patient had a heart attack? Are they having some kind of a pulmonary issue? Are they having a stroke? And so being able to make those determinations closer to the patient are going to be really important. So CLIA waiver for point of care, that regulation is really important. And then secondly, health screens. We actually think that we have a blood test someday that will replace the mammogram, much more accurate, no invasiveness with radiation. Those types of testing someday we think can be more of a home care. And so CLIA waiver, making them simple, is the future of diagnostics. So each of us can have personalized management of our health.